Knowing how to remove the background from your photos is a tricky but handy skill. In this Photoshop tutorial, you'll walk away knowing how to remove a background from hair with the background eraser tool. We'll be using an image that shows you how to remove the background from curly hair in Photoshop, but these directions will work with any type of hair. Step 1. Set up your layers. Open the image you want to remove the background from in Photoshop 2024. Get to your Layers panel by selecting Window, Layers, or by clicking on the Layers panel icon to the right of the screen. Make sure the locked background layer is selected. It's probably selected by default. Open the Layers panel menu by clicking on the three little lines in the upper left-hand corner of the panel. From the menu that drops down, choose Duplicate Layer. We create a duplicate layer so that you can preserve the original image. This gives you a backup of the original in case you make a mistake or need to start over. In the pop-up box that appears, click OK to create the background copy layer. Step 2. Create a high contrast layer. Click on the plus sign at the bottom of the Layers panel to create a new layer. In your toolbar, double-click on the foreground color to bring up the Colors dialog box. Using the color sliders, choose a color that's in high contrast to the background color of your original image. Since our image has a gray-blue background, we'll choose a bright pink. You want to use a bright, high-contrast color to work with as you remove hair from the background in Photoshop so you can easily see how much of the background is actually being removed as you work. Once you've chosen your color, select your new layer and choose Edit, Fill from the drop-down menu at the top of the application window, or click Shift F5, Function Shift F5 on a Mac. In the dialog box that appears, choose Foreground Color at 100%. Once you've filled your new layer with the foreground color, move that layer between your background copy and background layers in the Layers panel. You can do this by grabbing the new layer and dragging it until it pops into place between the background layers. Step 3. Remove the background around the hair and model. Select the Background Eraser tool from the toolbar. It may be hidden behind the Eraser tool. Next, select the background color from the toolbar and select the image's background color using the color picker in the pop-up dialog box. Click OK. With the Background Eraser tool selected, you'll need to make sure certain settings are set up correctly in the options bar at the top of the application window. First, in the drop-down menu next to Limits, you'll see options for contiguous, discontiguous, or find edges. Since we are working with hair, which has a wispy edge, we want to select contiguous. As you work to remove the background around other parts of your image with more abrupt edges, such as the arms and clothing, you may find that find edges works better. Just to the left of Limits, you'll see three icons with an eyedropper. Make sure the icon on the far right is selected. You'll also see other options in this options bar: the brush preset and tolerance. Begin with a brush hardness of 15% or softer and a brush size that makes sense for the image you are working with. And start with the tolerance set to 50%. Finally, check the box next to Protect Foreground Color. Go back into your Layers panel and make sure your top layer, Background Copy, is selected. Now, with your Background Eraser tool, begin erasing the area around the hair. As you work, you may need to adjust the tolerance level up or down depending on the colors in the foreground image. For instance, there are a lot of blue tones in the model's clothing, which could be accidentally erased using a high tolerance level. Therefore, we'll reduce the tolerance down to about 20% while working around these areas. You may also find it's helpful to reduce the brush size when working in these areas as well, so you have more precision over the pixels being removed. In addition, you may have to adjust the background color if your image has a lot of variation in its background. Continue erasing until you have an outline around your entire subject. Once you've erased the area immediately around your subject, you can increase your brush size and your tolerance and remove the remainder of the background. Step 4. Replace the background. Go back into your Layers panel and hide the bright color layer and the original background layer by clicking on the eye icon next to each layer. You now have a transparent background, and you can insert any background you wish into the image, or you can copy this layer and paste it into another image. Now that you've learned how to remove the background from hair in Photoshop, you can substitute your original backgrounds with your individual brand colors or with more complex backgrounds, adding interest and continuity to your e-commerce and sports photography. Head over to our channel for more Photoshop tutorials, and don't forget to like and subscribe.